The SimZone's Season 8 GT3 Championship, powered by Moza Racing. The championship consists of 8 weekly rounds, starting in Watkins, Glen, New York, and ending in Brands Hatch, UK. At the end of the season, the winner of the championship will receive the Moza Racing R5 bundle. The R5 bundle includes the Moza Racing R5 direct drive wheelbase with 5.5 Newton meters of peak torque. The Moza ES steering wheel with 22 programmable buttons. And the SRP light racing pedals, made of high-strength steel. Founded by automotive engineers and sim racing drivers, Moza is a leading innovator in camera stabilization systems and vehicle stability technology. Moza Racing released their first sim racing product in 2021, and since then, there have been a variety of products for the pros and for home. Moza Racing is determined to create innovative and professional sim racing equipment that drivers can depend on for quality and endurance. Moza Racing has also received numerous positive reviews. Here are just some of them.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the SimZone, and we're back with an interesting championship, quite a big one here. But before we get into that, I am joined by Cody. Cody, it's great to have you back here on comms. And yeah, it's been quite a while since our last broadcast, the last one being the 3 Sim Racing Nations event.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Of course, we're back with a new season, an exciting season with this championship, of course, and let's see what it brings for this season.
Well, this year as well. I mean, we're into 2023 now, and yeah, it's going to be a great year of racing. We've got so many championships to open up our new season, and yeah, we're looking forward to it. But we are here at Watkins Glen, quite a popular track amongst many sim racers. And yeah, I mean, what a track. Have you raced here before, Cody?
Yeah, I did. Of course, last season with the sim race, the final race was on Watkins Glen. Really tricky track, especially with the bus stop, and the last sector is really tight. But if you can keep it all together, you can set an amazing lap.
Yeah. So this championship, sponsored by Moza Racing, the winner will receive a Moza Racing R5 bundle, which includes pedals, direct drive wheel, and direct drive wheelbase and rim, and then they will also receive, the top 3 will also receive real trophies that are shipped directly to their address. So yeah, some great prizes to be won here. And it's not going to be easy for these drivers. I mean, the track conditions not looking very grippy. We've had a fast track in practice, and we're just going to have to wait to see what qualifying will bring for us.
Yeah, but still in practice I saw some blistering lap times, so even on a fast track. So I think they will be a bit faster when it goes optimum.
Yeah, I think we saw some 142s, 143s. We've got some big names here. We've got George Boothby, Luke Whitehead obviously being the SRO Esports champion. So some very, very big names here. And that's just to name a few. The whole grid is very competitive. But yeah, it's going to be a great, great championship. And the format for this race, so we've got 15-minute qualifying followed by a 1-hour race, which has a mandatory pit stop, of course. Now, in that mandatory pit stop, drivers will have to refuel, and tyre change is optional. So we could be seeing some overcuts and undercuts during this race.
And hopefully they won't miss the
pit window.
The pit window. That was it.
Yeah,
I mean, saw a lot of drivers do last couple of races.
Exactly, we've definitely seen that happen before. It's an easy mistake to do, you know. Not every championship runs a pit window. Not every league runs a pit window. So it can be quite daunting for some drivers. But yeah, it's going to be a good one with strategy calls as well. We've already got some comments coming in. Where we've got JR Sim Racing showing his support for Chris Pizek and Leon Seeley. Lord Pirth and Kenny, regulars in the comments as well. They also race on the PlayStation platform. But we should be going to qualifying very shortly. And I believe we've got 46 or 47 drivers on the grid. A few might be joining us a bit late into qualifying. But let's hope they can join just in time.
Yeah, there were was one guy with a restart of his PC, so maybe he will take a bit longer, but hopefully he can make it in time.
Yeah, I'm sure we will have them in time. Definitely don't want to be missing the first round of the championship. And of course, there is a drop round in this championship as well, so you can still be in the championship fight even if you miss a round, which I think is a great feature, because, you know, sim racing, not everyone can make every round. You've got equipment failures, which I've experienced recently with my PC. But yeah, it's good to have a drop round in the championship. And looking at the calendar for this season, let's quickly check. So round 1 obviously being Watkins Glen. Round 2 is at Donington Park, so we head to the UK for round 2, then back to Spa for round 3, round 4 being Zandvoort, round 5 Zolder, round 6 Misano, round 7 Kyalami, and round 8 back in the UK at Brands Hatch. So various different tracks there, but we should be heading to qualifying very, very shortly. And talking about last season as well, we had Lucas Sidor winning the championship with Christian Muller second and Dennis Bodenberger third. I believe Sidor and Bodenberger are both participating in this championship once again, so they're going to be ones to watch out for towards the top. Well, I believe they'd be towards the top. Can't quite tell at the moment, with there being so many new drivers and so many new esports drivers as well involved in this championship. So yeah, it's going to be tough for the returning champions. But yeah, we're definitely going to be keeping our eyes out on them.
Yeah, with a lot of fast drivers this year, and we hope we have some great racing and some fair racing, of course. But I think with all these great drivers, it will be a good season.
Yeah, and currently in this practice session that's going on right now, just while we wait, the top of the grid is filled by Hondas and Porsches. I mean, Honda's had a nerf recently, and it's still at the top here at Watkins Glen. But the Porsche also having a nerf, still looking quite strong here. So we could see pretty much the top 10 just with those cars. I mean, we do have the odd Audi of Thomas. Yeah, but the top 8 at the moment within 7-8 tenths of each other, so it's going to be very, very close at the top in this qualifying session. We just have to wait and see.
And it's good to see that we have some different cars than normal, like with the Honda, of course, on PC. It's really good, but there's a whole season they need to drive with it, so maybe things will change further on.
Yeah, we've got Riyadh in the comments saying, hello everyone, hello SimZone team. Yeah, good to see you, Riyadh, once again. Cascanova as well in the comments showing support for the Red Kings Motorsport drivers. I think we've got Michael Races, Red Ken Racing, a few others as well. Chris Vining, I believe, is one. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, we've got so many Red Kings Motorsport drivers in there. And it's good to see the support that's being shown in the comments. And another returning driver, Julius Rees, is being shown support for. But we go into the qualifying session now. And the drivers just on their outlap. Going to have to get their tyres warmed up because it is very overcast here at Watkins Glen, and you'd expect that this time of year, to be honest. We're in mid-January or towards the end of January now, and yeah, it's not going to be grippy at all out there, but hey, you can see some rubber on the curbs and some of the marbles on the exit of the tracks. Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see what lap times these drivers are going to be able to put in.
And I saw some interesting liveries with a pink and green Aston Martin just behind the BMW of Sullivan.
Yeah, and yeah, there are some interesting liveries here out on track. I know, yeah, it's quite a vibrant livery there. You're not going to miss him on track, which is actually could be a good thing in some instances, but it can be quite distracting as well. But I know one person, George Boothby, was mentioning that he's going to try and create the ugliest looking livery possible. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see to what he has created.
I like this Luke Whitehead livery though, the bronze and the black.
Yeah, it is nice. Yeah, it is very, very nice. We're going to go on board here with Luke Whitehead to start his first flying lap now. And his tyres, are they going to be warm enough? You would have assumed that he has warmed them up enough, but it usually does take a few laps to get them up to optimum temperature, especially with how cold the track is. But we go up here all the way down this long straight towards the bus stop chicane. This is where the Porsche is going to struggle in the race, especially once you've got drivers behind slipstreaming. But yeah, Luke Whitehead looking good so far. Into the bus stop now, down to 4th, all over the curves. And you can afford to take them. It's the best way to go through the bus stop. And he keeps it in 4th as we go right around this long right-hander, using all of the exit curb there as well. And onto the brakes, drops it down to 3rd. You can see they're just trailing the brakes, trying to get as much speed, as much weight onto the front nose as possible to get the car turned in. But yeah, Watkins Glen, such a great track, such a great layout. I think one of the most popular American tracks that have been released recently. But you can see they're trying to use the slipstream of the Aston Head, who has moved off the racing line. He's not on a hot lap.
And I think he invalidated on the first corner, so no room for error.
Yeah, no room for error whatsoever. But Luke trying everything he can, you can see, to get a bit of oversteer there, but yeah, to get as much speed as he can on this hot lap here. But we approach the final corner. Now, this is quite a tricky corner. You can get so close to the wall. It's so tempting to delay your input on the throttle, but you can actually get on the throttle quite early. And there we go. He's put it in provisional P1 at 142.4. What a lap there from Luke.
He is so fast on his opening lap, and of course with 11 minutes to go, there's still a lot of time, and there's George Boothby.
There he is.
What a livery.
Yeah, we just saw someone, another Honda going off there in the bus stop chicane. That's going to be a lethal place here. Not just in qualifying, but in the race as well. But what a livery there from Boothby. I mean, you can't fault it. I think it's probably one of the best liveries on track.
And when we have a night race, he will be able to see everyone, and everyone will be able to see him. He doesn't even need to run his lights. Yep,
all the aliens on planet Mars will be watching this stream, and they'll be looking at Boothby. They'll be able to see him from space. But currently we're watching the 898 Mercedes sitting in P7, 1.29 seconds off of that provisional pole time set by Whitehead. So still a bit of time to go. Still a bit of time to be made here for the Mercedes driver. But that is the highest Mercedes running currently. The next one down is Baron in P12. I'm sure I'm going to be butchering some of these names, so apologies, but I'm sure we'll get used to them towards the end of the season. But yeah, down in P13 at the moment, 1.7 seconds off, and he's not too far off of P12 there, just about 100th off. And I mean, a few tenths here in this lap time can gain him a number of positions as he's coming up towards the final corner. Oh, goes a bit wide there. I think that may have been invalid. Yep, was invalid there for the Mercedes number 25, unfortunately.
And I think a lot of drivers will just try for now to get a lap time in, just a little banker, and push on later on.
I think Whitburn, returning the car to the pits. So he's happy with his lap, maybe putting a bit more fuel in, maybe changing tyres. But watching the 111 Porsche of Tadej here, currently 5 tenths off, and a little bit wide there. I think he's still within track limits though, and he has the benefit of the slipstream of the Mercedes just in front, so he could be looking to gain a few more tenths this lap, and the slipstream's going to be crucial for these Porsche drivers, especially down that long back straight there. But
look what a traffic there he has in front of him.
Yeah, traffic is definitely going to be a difficult task to get around with this many cars on the grid. It gets a bit of oversteer on exit there, but it still looks to be quite clean. You can see
the Honda moves out of the way.
Yeah, you can see, you can hear as well, the car's struggling for grip at the moment. But he approaches the final corner now. No, he's returning the car to the pits, so probably no improvement there from the 111 Porsche. And there we go, into the pits.
And a good time to learn the pit lane. Where's the limit line? It will come up to you when you're not expecting it.
Yep, especially if the pit board's been knocked. That's going to be quite difficult for those who haven't done the practice and prepared for when that does happen. And I think last time we were out at Watkins Glen, we did see a few drivers pick up some drive-through penalties or stop-go 30s for speeding the pit lane. And in a 1 hour race, it's not great to have that. 30 seconds is a lot of time. And it's not just 30 seconds, you're going to be going into the pit lane, then you have to stop, and then you have to exit the pit lane as well, so it's much more than 30 seconds. And it could pretty much end your race. But the number 87 driver exiting, hits the wall there, exits the final corner, and that's not going to be an improvement there, I don't think. He's probably going to have to return the car to repair that damage. There we go, pulls over, and he's going to have to repair that damage now. Still, we've got a decent amount of time left in this qualifying session, but Hartfield exiting the final corner here. What's he going to do? Is it going to be an improvement? He's currently 3.2 seconds off, and he does improve there up into P29. Now only 2.6 seconds off the provisional pole time. And is it still Luke Whitehead on pole? It still is, yes. And Boothby puts it into P2 there, just a tenth off. So very, very close between the top two. Pisano in P3, but we're currently watching the Honda driver of Leslie, who gets a bit of a slide on out of the final corner, but he's 8 tenths off at the moment. Can he find any more time as he now crosses the line? He does! Wow, 5 tenths there on that lap, and he puts it into P4, provisionally on the second row.
Yeah, and with, if you can see on the timing sheets, a lot of Porsche and Hondas in the top 7. Dominating at this moment, the Hondas. But Boothby coming up to the last couple of corners with this left-hander is really hard, especially if someone is in front of you. And going up to the last corner, maybe can use some slipstream of the BMW in front. And he improves the same lap times.
Wow! Yeah, that slipstream definitely helped him, but that's a first. Matching lap times between P1 and P2. So, wow, that's very, very close. And I think Boothby, I don't know if he's going to be surprised at that or annoyed. It's so close. He only needs, think about it, he only needs 1,000th to pip Luke Whitehead to pole.
And of course, Luke Whitehead says at lap time first, so he's still on professional pole.
Yep. Currently watching Dave here in the 609 Porsche, sitting in P20, 1.8 seconds off. Now Dave saying he is a new member at the SimZone as well, so good to see him and good to have him out on track. It's a lovely green livery there from Traction Dave.
It's like I'm looking at the Hulk at this moment.
The Hulk, yeah, we'll call it the Hulk livery.
Yeah, or Cameron the Frog, whatever, but it's striking with the number 609, flashing the lights a bit coming up to the last section of corners. With 1.8 off professional pole in P21, he got it a little bit wrong there, but maybe he still has some time, some lap time.
Yeah, you can see that out of the penultimate corner, not really using all of the exit curb available, but he exits the final corner now. Can he find any more time, or has he found any more time? And he has, up into P10. It's a very good improvement there from Traction Dave. And he's looking for a top 10 finish in this qualifying session. But look, we've got a new provisional pole sitter. It's Leslie. Yes, a 142.292, just 5,000ths quicker than Whitehead and Boothby. That's going to be some competition for those two.
Yeah, and if I'm looking at the comments right now, Hotbird saying he lost the livery of Boothby, even though it probably burned his retinas.
Yeah, I mean, you can't hate that livery. We've got Sim League Pro saying good evening, guys. Yeah, good evening. Good to see you there as well. And be sure, if you're watching, make sure to like the stream. And be sure to comment, say hi, let us know who you're supporting. It'd be great to see some new faces as well in the comments. The 898 Mercedes there crosses the line up into P8. Wow, good improvement there from the Mercedes driver. And within a second of the provisional pole time. So now we've got the top 10 separated by just a second here. And it's going to be very close in the mid-pack, I think, judging by the qualifying times.
Yeah, but also at the front, I think, with the top 3, of course, being within 5,000s.
Yeah, I mean, in these races, it's all down to getting a good start, keeping your nose clean, you know, and keeping it consistent. Yeah, exactly. Great minds think alike there. We're saying the exact same things. But currently watching Matteo De Campo. He's currently P7. He's got a bit of a slipstream of the Aston in front, but I believe that Aston is also on a hot lap. So the number 43 in front, running the Hoonigan livery, which is great to see in respect of, pardon me,
Ken Block, of course.
Ken Block, yes. And looks like De Campo has backed out of that. But yeah, it's really unfortunate that we have lost Ken Block. He was a huge inspiration to young drifters and got lots of people into rallying and drifting as well. But it's much more that he did. But yeah, he will definitely be in our hearts for a very, very long time. And we saw there Boothby earlier going a bit sideways through the bus stop chicane. Currently watching Luke Whitehead now, who's all very sideways on that exit curb there. You can see there's not much grip on the track at the moment.
Yeah, but if he's on time, he can do another lap with 1 minute remaining. And I think it's Boothby in front of him, so it will be really close between those guys. Not only on the timing sheets, but also on the track. And Whitehead going a bit wide there, probably setting himself up for next lap. Going on to the Audi number 45, who was a little bit wide with the Audi.
Yeah, he's coming up towards this last sector now. But Boothby, Richard Boothby is about to cross the line. Has he found any more time? No, he hasn't. So he continues now for possibly his it will be his last hot lap. His last chance to improve here. You can see that he uses all the exit curb out of turn 1, and this section up towards the bus stop is flat. It's so important to be as smooth as possible to try not to scrub too much speed off.
And try not to hit the curbs on the inside. Coming up to the bus stop chicane, of course, you can take a lot of curb if you're there.
Yeah, as he does. And he only needs 5 thousandths, or 6 thousandths even, to put it onto pole position. Now, it might not sound like a lot, but if you're on the limit, it's definitely hard to find that time. It could be a case of braking a bit later, training the brakes a bit more, or getting on the power earlier. Boothby currently a 10th up, so this is looking good for provisional pole. Obviously, Leslie and Whitehead still yet to cross the line once more, but Boothby coming up towards this last sector, up towards the penultimate corner now. Very smooth on exit as well, using all that curb. He's not giving, he's using every single inch of the track. And up towards the final corner now, this could be it for Boothby. He's exited the final corner, and is it going to be pole for Boothby? He's going to cross the line, and it is a 142.287. Look at that, just 5 thousandths quicker than Leslie, but Whitehead hasn't improved, so P3 there for Whitehead. And wow, what a qualifying session we had there.
With only 100 between P1 to 3.
Yep. Oh. I mean, I think those three are possibly going to pull away from the rest of the pack, barring any major catastrophes they have on lap 1. Fingers crossed they don't. Fingers crossed they keep it clean on lap 1. But with this many cars on the grid, it's not going to be easy one bit. And yeah, those top 3, I think, are going to be ones to watch out for to take the win here at round 1. Watkins, Glen, but you never know, it's racing, anything can happen. And it's never over till the fat lady sings, as they say.
Oh, and a mistake with the pit stop, or a small incident, small kiss on the wall, and it can change your race completely. So never know what's gonna happen, and yeah, we'll see what's happening.
Yeah, we've got the pit stops as well, so strategies are going to be extremely important. Pit stop times are going to be extremely important. So we definitely need to, the drivers definitely need to time it to perfection. You know, if they pit too early to try and go for an undercut, they could come out in traffic, which is pretty much going to lose them some positions. But we've got a grid walk here for round 1, and look at the beautiful liveries. I mean, Boothby being right at the front as well, I think is going to get some good screen time with that livery, which is exactly what he'd want. But yeah, I mean, Boothby lining up on pole with Lazy on second, Whitehead in third, Pisano in fourth on the second row, Matt Whitburn there in fifth, Tadej in sixth, De Campo in seventh, Leon in eighth. I'm pretty sure I've mispronounced that. But Melancon in 9th, Thomas in 10th, Dave in 11th, Sidor in 12th, Borman in 13th, Alfajovic in 14th, Cosford in 15th, Bodenberger in 16th, Sealy in 17th, Vining in 18th, Whitvoot in 19th, Scully in 20th, and that rounds off your top 20 here for the start of this race. And I mean, look, like you said earlier, Lapria, the amount of Hondas and Porsches that in this top 10 or top 20 even, it's unbelievable. You've only got the odd few Mercedes, Audi, and even Leon Sealy there in the Aston.
Yeah,
and apart from that,
one McLaren.
Yeah, one McLaren. McLaren being your favourite car, so I think you might be rooting for them.
Yeah, I liked McLaren a lot. But the cars on your left-hand side of the track were, of course, on the dirty side of the track. So I think the cars on the inside will take it a bit easier, with braking a bit harder on the marbles.
Yeah. But of course, being on the inside, they have the advantage into turn one. But I don't think there's much space at Watkins Glen into turn one. You might see a few drivers going wide. There is a lot of runoff, but it could end in disaster if someone decides to rejoin in front of everyone. But yeah, the marbles will play a slight effect. It's going to take a few laps to, get heat into the tyres. We do have a full formation lap, so the drivers have enough time to get their brakes and tyres warm and get in the right mental state for this race. It's not going to be easy. Some of these drivers are competing in championships, in this championship at least, for the first time, and league racing for the first time. So yeah, I think nerves are going to be quite high for a lot of these drivers. They're going to have to try and get in the right mindset, settle down. That formation lap just gives them enough time to get in the right mind frame.
Yeah, and I saw one car that really stood out to me. It's the V12 Aston Martin, a car that you don't see really often. And
No.
it's bright pink, so it really stands out.
Exactly.
and it will sound amazing. Looking at the track map, there are two cars still in the pits.
I was just about to say that, yeah. So two drivers not being able to ready up in time, unfortunately. So they're going to be starting in the pit lane, and they've got some work to do to catch up to the rest of the field.
And GGSR Shogun says, I don't know who to root for, but so many people he knows.
Yeah, he's saying how many drivers this season. We do have a full 50 cars registered. Obviously, a few of them, I think 4 of them not able to make it today, but that still leaves 46 or 47 drivers on the grid, which is amazing. And on a tight track like this, it's not going to be easy for many of these drivers, especially the mid-pack. That's usually where you see most of the trains and battles forming up. So yeah, it's going to be difficult to keep it clean coming into some of these tight corners. I think patience is a virtue on this track. It is in general in racing, but on this track especially, especially since you have that bus stop chicane, going too wide through there is very, very risky.
Yeah, and of course overtaking on this track isn't really easy. If you want to do an overtake, you need to be really committed and make sure you leave some space for the other car, because otherwise you'll both end up or in a wall or off track.
Yeah, there's not much runoff. You see, there's just a bit of grass, and then you've got the barrier right there. So one mistake can pretty much ruin your race, and you'd be in the pits for some lengthy repairs. But we see now the drivers lining up 2 by 2 here, getting ready for the race start. Now between Boothby and Leslie, who's going to get the jump into turn 1? Obviously Boothby has the inside, but can Leslie somehow get a better start and hold it around the outside to gain the race lead? It's going to be Honda versus Honda into turn 1. So
and maybe Whitehead can spice things up a bit with, of course, also being on the inside.
yeah, he's going to be looking to maybe gain a position here off the start, especially with the acceleration, the really good acceleration off that Porsche. It's going to help him off this start to possibly gain a position. And I think for Whitehead, he's going to need to be. He's got the Porsche, the Honda. Yeah, we are green, and he's got the Honda. That's probably going to have the slipstream and the better straight line speed. But here we go into turn 1. Leslie trying it around the outside there. He's got to stay where he is, but hasn't been left much room. He's on the curb. They are still side by side here. No, it looks like he's going to have to back out of that. Luke Whitehead, though, has got to nose up the inside. But is it enough? Leslie's left him the room, and Whitehead's now going to slipstream Boothby here. You can see the Porsche is actually neck and neck there with Leslie, but now the Honda of Leslie has the slipstream. Now he's backed out of it though into the bus stop, and Whitehead has gained a position off the start, so that was crucial there. And we've got a bit of carnage in the background there into the bus stop. I think that was expected. Some yellow flags going on. And oh no, quite a few drivers there. There's some yellow flags. And looks like quite a few drivers got involved. There's some heavy damage there for Dave and Leon Seeley. Yep, really unfortunate. But with this many cars on the grid, I think it's expected. That's going to be some lengthy damage repairs in the pits for some of these drivers. But unfortunate to see, but that is racing, you know. It happens to the best of us. And they're just going to have to drive through damage. And unfortunately, they'll have to pit twice due to the pit window. But back onto this battle here for P4. Yeah, Whitburn just in front. Today, very close behind, looking for a move. But yeah, the grid's still very, very close at the top.
And Whitehead, of course, with the position gained on Leslie, who had a bit of a difficult start, of course, being on the outside, and Whitehead just sneaking up his inside in the bus stop. But really good overtake, and I think Leslie just let him go in the bus stop.
Didn't really need to fight. Race. Yeah, didn't really need to fight too much. I mean, Whitehead had the inside, but this is where he's going to struggle. He's going to be quite vulnerable here. Obviously, Leslie in the Honda, much quicker on a straight line, and he's got the slipstream. So can Whitehead hold on? It looks like he might be able to. Leslie not close enough as we come up towards the braking zone. Yeah, so Luke Whitehead holds on to P2 here, but Leslie definitely going to be breathing down his neck, hunting to gain that position back that he lost off the start. But it's still early doors here. Still only 3 minutes into the race, and it's looking good for Boothby so far.
Yeah, and they're trying to create a gap, of course, to Whitburn. But
yeah,
the car 45 trying to defend from Lucas Sidor.
Yeah,
Sidor, of course, our last championship in the. In the championship, so
yeah, season 7 he was the champion there, running in P11 at the moment, so taking his time, but I think it's the opening round, so we've got plenty of time to gain some points. We're going to get a quick replay here of the race start just to see what happened. Just watching Traction Dave there, you can see there all the Porsches and Leon Seeley on the marbles there on the inside. This is where the accident happened, and the two that's what happened. So it looks like the Mercedes and the Porsche there in the background came into contact. Looks like they just moved across on each other. Unfortunately, came into contact with the Traction Dave's Porsche and caught out Leon Seeley as well.
They were running so close to each other, a little tap is enough to go off the track, of course.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but when you're racing at these high speeds, a little tap can easily do that, especially when you tag someone's rear quarter. It's pretty much game over. But De Campo there, I think he had to think about looking to the inside, but it just wasn't close enough into the braking zone. But he definitely has the pace to get this move done on Thomas in the Audi.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of when.
Up an Audi. It's quite special on the straight. Of course, here's where the Porsche shines in the corners on the exit, and he's less than a tenth behind Thomas.
Yeah, he's really putting on the pressure now, but we go back to Boothby and Whitehead. Boothby with the fastest lap of the race so far. We still are all early doors, so that can easily change. And the driver with the fastest lap does pick up an extra point, so it can be crucial in this championship. And Whitehead really breathing down his neck at the moment. He's just waiting here patiently, like you said earlier, Cody. They're going to try and pull away from the rest of the pack before they battle too hard. Because if they battle hard now, they're going to be involved in some serious battles with the drivers behind them. Leslie's still there, who's definitely a threat to these two. We go on board here with Luke Whitehead, who now takes the fastest lap of the race at a 1:42.7. So they are lapping pretty much qualifying times here, which is absolutely amazing.
Ferrari in front of them is already it's going to be blue flag. The Boothby has a bit of slipstream now on the Ferrari.
Yeah, the Ferrari just moving out the way. Perfect timing there for both of them. So not getting in the way whatsoever. But yeah, unfortunate for that Ferrari. I believe they did pit due to damage repairs. I think we saw them in the replay just off there in the bus stop on that one. But yeah, continue this battle, and Whitehead looking to the inside. He's got a much better exit here, much better mid-corner speed, and Boothby might have to go defensive. No, he doesn't. So Whitehead still biding his time here, not really going to send it down the inside just yet. But they have opened up a gap to Leslie of about a second now, so Whitehead may be thinking about going for this overtake very shortly.
And hopefully for him he can have a good exit on the out of the last corner, so he can slingshot around Boothby.
Yeah, and we see here De Campo down the inside, late on the brakes. Melancon still hanging around the outside there, but he's lost that position, and De Campo up into P9. What a move there from De Campo. Perfectly executed. And yeah, up into P9 now. He's going to be looking to catch up to Thomas, who's not too far up ahead of him. But you look down towards P19. Look at this train, Cody, sorry. This is
So
great,
close.
yeah, it's a great mid-pack battle to watch. I mean, we've seen so many mid-pack battles throughout previous seasons, and this is where all the action goes on. But we've got action everywhere. We've got action at the top, in the middle, and at the back. It's just we've got so many cars. And oh, what's happened there? One of the Ferraris are just moving out the way there, I think. So yeah, Whitburn very sideways on the exit of turn 1. Pizzet's going to capitalise on that. Looks to the inside. Now going to be side by side here, coming up towards this long straight. And I think Whitburn is possibly going to have to back out of this. You can see that Walker in the background catching up now as well. But actually, now Pizzet losing some time, and he's going to have to back out of that as well. Contact between the two, and it looks like Whitburn just moved across there. So really unfortunate for Whitburn, but he hasn't got it going just yet. He's going to have to wait for all these cars to go past to rejoin the circuit. If I were him, yep, I'd reverse. Yeah, really unfortunate, but it did look like a racing incident there. But we'll leave that one up to the stewards. Whitehead still putting on the pressure here to Boothby. I'm sure these two have been in this position much more before, and Boothby obviously defending very well so far. Whitehead not going for the position, but Bilotti looking left and right. A bit of a dummy there, but it hasn't worked at the moment. Bendetti in front doing a good job at holding off the 312 Aston. A lovely livery there from the Aston of Bilotti. And likewise for Bendetti. We've got some good creativity out on track here.
Yeah, and look how close everyone is. But a little bit of white from Benedetti in the number 1 Audi.
Yeah, it could have been a disaster there for him. Luckily, he held it together. And Bilotti... Oh, we've had someone in the background there. One of the BMWs just hitting the wall. But yeah, luckily, Benedetti held it together. And Bilotti now has another chance to get this position done. But Whitehead and Boothby side by side coming to the bus stop. Whitehead has to back out of that, but Boothby's got a poor exit, and doesn't look like at the moment Whitehead can capitalise on that. He's going to look for a later apex. No, goes slightly wide, and Boothby holds on to P1 for now. But how long can he do that for? Whitehead is hot on his tail, looking left and right. He's really putting on the pressure here to Boothby. Maybe some mind games going on as well, some dummies and whatnot, but for now, they are still as they are. Boothby P1 and Whitehead P2. They have, however, still... Yeah, they've gapped now to Leslie, now 1.3 seconds. It was about 2 seconds, I think, just a second ago. So, yeah, Leslie now catching back up. Leslie's got Whitburn behind him, Pisano as well, and today not far off either. So they could be catching up to the rest of the pack, and Dan Barth looks like he's made a mistake, currently running in P30. Now, Hartfield, I believe that is in front, who's just passed him.
Unfortunately, Jan Barth a bit at the back in P30, but as we saw last season, he can fight himself up to the front again. He proved it's a really fast driver, so just needs to keep it clean, and maybe we'll see him back the higher places. We're going to Benedetti and look at this train. It's so close.
Yeah, no, was that a bit of contact there between Benedetti and Cosford? Cosford now in the Porsche. He was running with us in season 6 in the McLaren, I believe. Oh no, in the Audi, sorry. But yeah, looks like there may have been a bit of contact between the two. But as a result, Bilotti gained a position. Now Pisano very, very close to the back of Whitburn. Just a 10th separating these two. Looks to be a bit more now. But the two Honda drivers, 206 and 20, very similar liveries as well. They're not teammates, I don't think, but yeah, definitely going to be battling for P4 in this race. Now the pit window is going to open up in 8.5 minutes. We could see some drivers here who are struggling to get past dive into the pits as soon as possible to get the undercut done. The undercut we've seen in previous seasons, very, very strong, so it definitely could work here, even out at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, and of course for the cars who are fighting, trying an undercut or an overcut can be vital for the races, but they need to plan it well because they don't want to come out in front of traffic or behind traffic, so they can make up the most time and overtake the guys they're fighting with at the moment.
Yeah, I'm sure there's still some drivers carrying some damage as well. We can see here Carl Van Hoorn in the Assetto Racing Team livery as well. Carl Van Hoorn, one of the admins here at the SimZone on track. Currently in P26, which is quite a good position. I don't think he really expected himself to be there. Another Assetto Racing Team driver in P21.
Aston Martin Curtin in the back of Barth and hit, scraped the wall there and in the corners before. The delivery of Van Hoorn, really nice. Something lighter than last season, but going to Osford, the Porsche against the Mercedes.
He's going to be vulnerable here. Bilotti looking to the inside. Is he going to be later on the brakes? I think Cosford's going to have to back out of that. They're still side by side. Wow, Cosford holds on to that position, and now that's put Bilotti in a very vulnerable position here to lose P15.
But the Porsche of Cosworth looks a bit battered on the front, so maybe and also on the rear, so he had some contact somewhere.
Yeah, that's GT racing for you though. This many cars on the grid. A lot of these drivers are going to be carrying some light damage from the start, and that's why it's so crucial in these races to keep your nose clean, because you can gain a huge advantage by doing so. But Walker with the slipstream here, is he going to get this move done? No, he's late. Later on the brakes though, catching right up to Benedetti, and Benedetti now in a position to defend that position. So the roles have reversed. It was Bilotti in front, and now Benedetti has got to have to worry about Walker behind him.
And for the car behind them, Chris Bissett in the Porsche, he hopes they lose some time fighting so he can catch up a bit.
Yeah, we skip to the 898 Mercedes on the outside here, battling with Sidor. Sidor obviously once again the last season's champion, and he's really trying to gain some positions now, but this is where he's going to be at a disadvantage. Look how quick the Mercedes is on the straights. He's almost ahead of him, and I think Sidor's going to have to back out of there as he does into the bus stop. So the 898 Mercedes stays in P9, Sidor stays in P10.
So when I'm looking at the timing, Luke Whitehead lost a lot of time to Boothby, with the gap already at 1.4 seconds. Now 1.3, but what's happened to him? He lost a lot of time in 8 minutes, maybe a bit less. Mistakes were made and going a bit wide there, and that. So maybe he has some damage or his tires are going off.
Yeah, I mean, he's been pushing so hard in this first stint, so, you know, he's maybe made a mistake, like you say, and that's why consistency is so important. But even though he has made a mistake, well, possibly made a mistake, Leslie hasn't caught up. The gap's still, what was that, 1.9 seconds between these two. So either Boothby has found some more time. He's got some more horsepower in that engine somehow. Or Whitehead has made a mistake. But Walker down the inside here of Bendetti. And yeah, up into P17 goes Walker. He hits the wall on the exit though, and Bendetti's going to come right back at him down the inside. They're going to be side by side coming into turn 1, and I think Walker's going to have to back out of this. There we go, he does. And Bendetti back up into P17, but he runs wide. Oh my god, they're going to be chopping and changing positions. Yeah, this is a great battle to watch. And Walker obviously going to have the slipstream now. They're both carrying damage, I believe. And Walker now pulling to the outside. He's not really using that side draft just yet to try and get past, but neither of these drivers want to be on the marbles, you can see there. And no, he's not going to get that position done, but a good attempt of an overtake there from Walker. So Bendetti up into P17. Now watching Tom Curtin and Chris Pizzock here battling it out. P19 and P20. Pizzock has been out the car for a while, as in he hasn't been able to get much seat time recently, so he is a bit rusty, as you'd say. Usually we'd see him further up the grid, but I'm sure he's enjoying himself battling that close nevertheless. And we move to Tadej and Pisano here.
And Pisano, I think, lost a position
Yep.
to the day this lap, so Porsche climbing up the field.
Yeah, so that will update once they cross the start-finish line. It only updates every sector. There we go. So Tadej in front of Pisano now. But it's not over yet between these two. Pisano's going to have the slipstream, although he's a bit far back now. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to catch up by the time they reach the bus stop. So Tadej looks to be in a more comfortable position now as we go on to this lap. Yeah, he's easily going to hold that.
Still falling back with the gap growing to 1.7 seconds. And Van Hoorn in a train with Pryor, I believe it's Pryor, Wiese and Reed. And all the four cars within 1.2 seconds of each other. With Van Hoorn making a bit of a mistake, going a bit slow into turn 1. And he has the Porsche of Reed on his diffuser.
Yeah, look at this. He's going to have the slipstream, and although the Aston fairly good on the straights, I think he's possibly going to have to go. No, he's not going to have to go defensive just yet. The Porsche thinking about a move, but bides his time there. Doesn't want to send it, and I thought Van Hoorn nearly lost the car there. You can see he's got a horrible exit. Now Reed looking to the inside once more, but Van Hoorn shuts the door and holds off Reed for just another corner here.
And I just read in our comments, Matt Whitburn is disconnected from P4. We lost one driver, unfortunately for him, but
yeah, that's really unfortunate. Oh, bit of contact there between the 87 BMW and Mercedes and Bilotti.
Bilotti trying to go up the inside was a little bit too fast, locked up and spun it round. But going back to Sedor, it was still fighting with Mercedes, and Bilotti falling down the field.
Yeah, he's sat there. I'm not sure what's happened. Let's hope he hasn't given up. Maybe he's got some equipment issues. You know, it's sim racing, anything like that can happen, as we spoke about it earlier. But he's going to be causing yellow flag there on the exit.
But with him, it's close to the pit lane, but only 3 seconds left for the pit window, which opens right now. He can drive straight into the pit lane for his pit stop to fix his damage and change some tires. And still we have Reed and Van Hoorn fighting, going into the bus stop.
And
Reed a bit further back.
Yeah, even though while they've been battling, they haven't really lost much time to Wiese and Pryor in front of them. They're still pretty much there, which is quite interesting. So they're all very, very even on pace. And you can see in the background as well, Barton and Jan Barth not far off either. They're only about 3 seconds off, and they could be gaining some time on this pack. So maybe in a few laps, obviously they still have to pit, but maybe we could see a four-car battle and Sidor very sideways out of the penultimate corner there. But he's held it together, kept it out of the barriers, and he's looking to gain this position once again. So maybe a mistake from both of these two. And Sidor not going to go for this move into turn one. The Mercedes defending, moved over to the middle of the track, but don't think he really needed to. And yeah, it's going to stay as it is between these two. I think Porsche's not going to be able to catch the Mercedes on the straights by any means. But Whitehead, after that mistake, 2.2 seconds. So he's lost a bit more time now to Boothby.
I think maybe his tires are gone, or he just got out of the zone a little bit. Easy to do on this track, especially if you make a mistake. And Walker passing
Cosford, yeah, with ease. So didn't even have to struggle with that overtake. I think maybe Cosford making a mistake, or it's that damage that's really hindering him on the straights, and he's got Bendetti behind him as well. That could be another position lost for Cosford. We'll see how long he can hold on for. If I were him, if I were Cosford, I'd be diving to the pits as soon as possible. Otherwise he'll be losing a lot of time by staying out with that damage.
And Walker is trying to catch up to the Mercedes 87 in front of him. He just gained 5 tenths in the last sector. So he's trying to get close to him, and maybe he can overtake him as well. Going back to Van Hoorn, who is catching Pryor, with Reed still behind. And in the back there was an Aston Martin, I believe it was Barton, going into the wall.
Yeah, that was Barton.
And Reed trying to sniff up the inside of Van Hoorn. But Van Hoorn defends really well and still looking to attack Pryor.
Yeah, Reed might dive into the pits now for an undercut. He's got the pace to get past. He's been poking his nose up the inside every now and then, but no, looks like he's staying out. Or is he actually? Nope, yeah, he's staying out. So he wants to get this position done on track. If he pitted early, he'd probably have a good opportunity of getting past. Yes, he's lost it. He's losing so many positions now. He's lost a position there to, I think that's Melancon. So he's probably down into, what's that, P8 now?
Yeah, P8. And also had a little bit of a collision with Melancon on the rejoin. So
yeah. It looked like it was very close. I'm not exactly sure if it was a collision, but yeah, there we go. It's updated now into P8. Van Hoorn down the inside there of Pryor. He's going to get that move done into the bus stop. Pryor couldn't do anything, but can he do it on the exit? Van Hoorn bouncing over the curb and on the grass, and looks like Reed's trying to look for a way through as well, but he's going to have to wait in the wings for one of these two to make another mistake. He's going to try and follow Van Hoorn through. Pryor's going to have to leave the door wide open, and there we go.
And also
Van Hoorn making 2 positions. Yeah, that's Bilotti in the background, although he is a lap down, I believe. But Reed now looking back on the inside. You can see that he's on the marbles, but he's on the outside now. We've got Sidor into the pits for his mandatory stop. Tadej into the pits for his mandatory stop. I believe that's Witvut there in P12 as well. One of the Ballas Esports drivers into the pit. So quite a few Porsches jumping into the pits very early. You can see that Whitehead now losing another second to Boothby. So maybe the tyres on the Porsches going off here. Like you mentioned earlier, Cody, the Porsche's really struggling with their tyres now, so hence why most of them are entering the pits. Although Whitehead keeping it out on track, he is in the top 2. Look at that, 4 seconds now to Boothby. He's losing heaps of time, and Leslie there in the background, only 2.3 seconds. So Whitehead might be starting to think about pitting very, very shortly. We've also got Pisano and DeCampo there, P4 and P5 battling. And looks like today's picked up a stop-go 30 for speeding in the pit lane. So he's going to have to serve that within 3 laps. He had a spin, and now he's got a stop-go 30. So that's his race has gone from bad to worse here. That's going to drop him down a number of positions, but DeCampo looking good here in P5. We saw these two battling earlier on. DeCampo had a bit of an opportunity to get this move done, but unfortunately backed out of it. And it's not easy to overtake a Honda on this track whatsoever. But DeCampo, I think, just playing the patient game, playing the waiting game here, and biding his time. But look at this, Sidor now he's obviously served his pit stops, trying to get past some of the drivers who are on a different strategy. That bright pink V12 Aston, but Sidor not able to get past just yet. Flash of the lights there from Sidor, trying to get past. He's got, I believe, Vitvoet not too far behind, which is who he'll be battling with. We've got Van den Heuvel now into the pits for his mandatory stop. Pizuk as well diving into the pits, and Sidor really struggling to get past at the moment. Looks like, yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to get it done just yet. I don't see any blue flags being waved. Oh no, there are blue flags being waved. So surprisingly, the V12 Aston not getting out of the way. This could be down towards. This could be down to the stewards post race. Sidor is losing heaps of time here, and there we go. The Aston now possibly moving out the way. I don't think they realise that they are a back marker. So yeah, I think this is going to be quite a big penalty once the race is over with. Sidor really struggling. He's getting a bit impatient now. He's really struggling to get past. And there may even be some contact. This is not great whatsoever from the Aston. You can see it. Sidor is going to have to try and get past because Vitvoet has really caught up. So has the 898 Mercedes. They're only a second back, and there we go. Sidor has finally got past, but yeah, that was a bit of questionable from the V12 Aston there. But looks like DeCampo now in a bit of a battle here with, I believe that's Cosford, who has already pitted, or that's Vitvoet. It's one of the two, very similar liveries, but DeCampo has now got a car between himself and Pisano. So Pisano with a bit of breathing room now, although they are still in a train here. But the Porsche between them, they are not battling with. So yeah, in that sense, Pisano has some breathing room. He has some time to relax now, focus on the track ahead of him, rather than constantly looking in his rearview mirrors. But he's going to look to pull away now. You can see the gap already getting bigger and bigger here, and a big send down the inside there from DeCampo. Perfectly allowed. Carl Van Hoorn and Kennedy now into the pits for their mandatory stops. Boothby, the race leader, into the pits. Whitehead, is he going to pit as well? Yes, he is. He's going to follow him straight through. And Whitehead maybe carrying a bit of damage with some possible contact he had earlier with Boothby. But I don't think he'll be looking to repair that in the pits, because that is crucial time lost. And we're now watching Vitvoet, who is only a few tenths off the back of the Mercedes. They were much closer the last time around, but Vitvoet's lost some time by battling. And it doesn't look like he's going to be able to close in just this moment. One of the Ferraris there being lapped as we speak. But pretty much the back of the grid, all the way up to P20, from P41 to P20, have served the mandatory stops. It's really the front runners, some of the front runners in the mid pack that are yet to pit. We've still got Leslie, DeCampo, and you can see there a lot of the drivers there from P5 to P10 in the pits as well. Quite surprising because there's still 9 minutes of the pit window to go, and I'm sure Leslie is going to keep it out for as long as he can. Boothby has come out 5 seconds, nearly 5.5 seconds ahead of Whitehead. We'll wait for that to update. So I don't think it's accurate, but maybe a mistake there from Boothby through the bus-stop chicane. There we go, down to 4.6 seconds. But I think that was a mistake there from Boothby through the bus-stop chicane. You saw there a bit of the dirt being thrown up into the air. That's not going to help his tyres at all. Tadej now into the pits to serve his stop-go 30. That's going to drop him down a number of positions here. And now we've got the number 10 Aston as well into the pits. Now I believe we have lost Cody for a short while, but I'm sure he'll be back with us soon, so just bear with us. Yeah, he should join us soon. But watching Reed now battling with Julius V's, P23 and P24. V's obviously competing last season as well, looking for a top 20 finish this time around. But at the moment, currently running in P23 and maybe even going to lose his position to Reed, who looks towards the inside here. He's going to have to be later in the brakes to make this stick, and there we go, he does it. The Porsche able to be much later in the brakes, and V's obviously backing out of that as well. He knows Reed is faster. There's not really any point battling too much. And we go back to Boothby, who I believe is the race leader. That hasn't updated yet. Leslie is there we go, now it's updated. So yeah, Boothby still in the race lead. The top three now pitted. Luke Whitehead just 4.9 seconds behind. We look down to this battle, Chris Vining and Luciano Wittwood. Wittwood in the Porsche, only 2 tenths behind. He's going to use the slipstream to try and get as close as possible to the Honda ahead, but it's not going to be easy. He's not going to have a chance to get this move done into the bus stop chicane. And the gaps actually increased this time. And a very big slide there from Vining, almost losing the rear end completely, but he held it together very nicely, and that's now that's allowed Wittwood to get even closer there, almost glued to the rear bumper of Vining, and he's got the rear end out as well, ever so slightly. So the driver's really pushing the cars to the absolute limit. You can tell just by the rear end here. And Wittwood looking for any opening to get this move done. He's definitely not going to back out if the door is open. If there's a gap, he's going to go for it, as we've seen in previous seasons. He is a very, very quick driver here. But obviously in a different car this time this season. He was in the Audi back in season 6 as well, so something new, but he's definitely not off the pace whatsoever.
Well, I'm back after some minor issues, but going back to Thomas, who is trying to overtake Pisano in the Honda, but the Audis found a bit more pace in the race and in qualifying, but can Thomas do anything into the bus? I think he's a little bit too far behind.
Yeah, and Thomas looking down the inside there. I mean, we've seen these two battle previously. Thomas is definitely one to look out for as we go on board with him now. See, they're all bouncing over the grass. That's not going to help one bit. The camber of this track. And there's some good elevation changes on this track as well. It's not just your typical flat track. It's got some good undulations and a lot of camber in some of these corners as well, which does make things interesting when trying to pass. But Thomas, as a result of bouncing over that grass, running a bit too wide, has lost a bit of time to Pisano now. You see that Pryor in P4, I believe, the only one yet to pit. So he's keeping it out long on track. Obviously still 4 minutes left of the pit window to go, so plenty of time. You definitely don't want to leave it till the last minute because it can get tricky. It's a very big risk. We go back to this battle, Vining and Wittvoet, P11 and P12.
Yeah, with the Porsche still on the back of the...
Yeah, it's just one of the
Honda,
Audis.
and the Audi just trying to move out of the way. Pisano and Thomas catching up. They swap positions with Pisano going into, I believe it's P4.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And he immediately got a bit of a gap to the car behind.
Yeah, so that's Pryor, who still hasn't served his mandatory pit stop. Bit of traffic there coming into play, and obviously Pryor is going to drop down quite a few positions after he serves that mandatory pit stop. Thomas has lost heaps of time there while trying to navigate through traffic, and that's a very important thing in these races. If you can't navigate through traffic, you lose so much time, and Van den Heuvel down the inside there bounces over the curb, and he's all sorts of sideways, but he's somehow held to that position. No, he's got a poor exit there, left the door wide open for Curtin in front, and yeah, Curtin gains that position back, so he holds on to P17, Van den Heuvel back down to P18. Cosford is now caught up to them. The gap's not 1.5 seconds, it's much less than that. And I think these three battling for position now. So we've got a 3-car battle for P17.
And Pryor just went into the pit stop in the pit lane, was losing already a lot of time to the cars who have already pitted, and now he's in for his mandatory stop with 2 minutes of the pit window still to go, and I think he's the last car into the pit, into his pit box.
Yeah, Julius V's back into the pit, so has he got some damage? I suspect he has, or he hasn't put enough fuel in. It's one of the two. But Van den Heuvel still on the back of Curtin, although now he's having to defend here because Cosford is right on his tail. But we switch back to Vining, and Wittvoet. Wittvoet looking for a move. He had his car alongside there, but Vining had the better line coming through the bus stop, and of course he holds on as a result. But look at this. Very, very close, and it's almost as if the Lamborghini of Van der Heuvel was pushing the Aston there of Curtin along the straights, trying to nudge him along, saying, look, listen, I've got the Porsche right behind me. I don't want to lose this position, but they are side by side. Looks like Curtin's going to lose 2 positions there through the bus stop chicane. Yeah, what a move from Cosford and Van den Heuvel. Obviously, Cosford got to follow him through, and look at that, we've got a Porsche off in the background. Yeah, I'm not sure which Porsche that was, but let's hope they haven't picked up any damage there.
And Wittvoet still fighting with Vining. And he just cannot pass the Honda, which is of course faster in the straight line. And with the upcoming sections, of course, being the straight, he just hopes he can hang on in the slipstream and maybe set himself up for the twisty part of the circuit. And now switching to Whitehead, and the gap has grown to 10.2 seconds. And Leslie is catching up a bit with only 1.8 seconds behind him.
Yeah, now at the start of the race, Boothby and Whitehead were neck and neck, just separated by a piece of paper. They were, and now it's a whole 10 seconds. And yeah, like you said, Whitehead's going to have to watch out for Leslie. Leslie is coming back at him in the latter of this race now. Just 19 minutes left to go, and Whitehead's got some pressure. He's I'm sure he's going to be able to deal with the pressure well. He's been racing on ACC in the highest level, the highest competitions for a while, so he's used to this. So he's got that advantage probably over Leslie. But look how much he's closed in, has Leslie. He's really catching every corner here.
Does that Porsche have any damage, or did he just fall completely off the pace?
I think if he did pick up some damage in the contact between Boothby at the start, he probably hasn't repaired it. So he's really losing the time now. The gap just a few tenths between these two. Leslie using the slipstream to gain everything he can here. But one of the, I think that's the BMW there we just passed. But Whitehead going defensive, keeping the car in the middle of the track, back over to the racing line. And Leslie not in a position to go for an overtake, but look how much he's closed in through the bus stop chicane there. Both cars bouncing over the curbs.
And with Leslie gaining still, and the gap is almost a tenth. So can Leslie go up the inside of Whitehead? And
you could see, look at the damage Whitehead has on the rear, so he hasn't repaired it. That's what's going to be costing him so much time, and I think now Whitehead is thinking it probably would have been better to repair the damage in the pits, because he's going to have to defend now, and he might possibly losing this position. He's not going to let Leslie go around the outside, although they're still side by side here. Leslie's going to have the inside for the next corner, and I think Whitehead has lost that position now. So down into P3 is Whitehead, Leslie up into P2. Yeah, I mean, what an overtake there from Leslie. Set that up well beforehand.
Yeah, and Love Barrett in the comments saying fantastic racing from the top guys, which he is of course he is right. And we go back to Carl van Hoorn, who's defending from Tadej in the Porsche. But
yeah, Tadej obviously had a spin. He might have flat spotted his tyres slightly, but he's coming back now. After a while, we've got some cars off. I think that's Reed, and that might have been the Audi, back marker. So, that's not going to be good at all. I think that might have been Clayton in the Audi, one of the back markers. So, Reed's going to lose quite a few positions here, and it's one thing losing positions from your own mistake, but through a back marker, I mean,
that hurts.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't quite catch what happened. We never know. It could have been Reed's mistake, but we can't quite judge just yet. Tadej, looking down the inside there, that would have ended in a disaster. Luckily, I think Carl van Hoorn saw that coming and left a bit of room there for Tadej. But as a result,
in front of them it's
V12,
the pink V12. But they are not fighting with him for a position. And there was some contact between Van Hoorn and Tadej in the last corner. And Tadej going up the inside, but Van Hoorn had a bit of a slow exit. Maybe you can pick up some slipstream from the Aston Martin, but I think the Porsche will have him. And there he goes up the inside.
I think cut Van Hoorn a bit sideways on the exit. He caught that slide though. But it looked like on entry that Van Hoorn was going to hold it around the outside, but no, it's just the camber of that corner really favours those on the inside, and obviously today got that position done. Vitvoet now still on the back of Vining. They've caught up to the 898 Mercedes there, so we've got a 3-car battle. We've got so many battles going on towards the end of this race. And 3-car battle for P9. This is what we usually see though. We see so many battles going on towards the end of the race. Sometimes it gets a bit quiet during the pit stop intervals, but so far, I mean, it's been relentless. It's been battles throughout the whole field, which is great to see, and great for the viewers, of course, and for us.
Some great driving, and of course, it's really good to see that a full field can be so entertaining with so much battling everywhere. And Vitvoet just lost a little bit of time to, I think it's Vining.
Yeah. just watching McFarquhar here in the slipstream of Bendetti. Mercedes, there's a very, very quick car on the straights. Bendetti going extremely defensive very early on here, and McFarquhar looking to the outside. Bit of door rubbing between the two, but he's backed out of that very sensibly, and you can see their sparks flying from the Audi in front as they just exit the bus stop chicane now. Yeah, a good attempt from the Mercedes there, but you can see after a failed attempt how much time you lose to the car in front. But of course, if you're quicker, you're going to be able to catch up, but you've got to do that work all over again. You can see they're bouncing over the exit curb. Yeah, I think this is where patience is very important. You've got to stick to the bumper of the car ahead and not necessarily go for every gap you see. It has to be calculated. You can see you've lost time, you lose time by trying to go for an overtake that possibly won't work. But yeah, I think calculated overtakes and being patient is what is really required in racing.
And of course on this track every mistake can be lethal with the walls so close to the track itself, with only a little bit of grass and no rear runoff. But can the 87 Mercedes try it again on the long straight? He's again within half a second, and of course the Mercedes being really fast on the track, on the straights, but I think he will be a bit too far back, but only if he can get a nice slipstream of the Audi.
No, I think he's a bit too far back at the moment. We've got a... Oh, actually, yeah, no, he's too far back for this move. But we've got another battle going on for P23 and P24. That's Sullivan and Borman just separated by 1/10 here. So that's a very, very close battle. The BMW versus Porsche.
Both cars not really strong and straight. On the straight.
Yeah, it's extended slightly now, so maybe a mistake there. But we go back to that's Thomas and De Campo. De Campo has been trying so hard to get a move. He's lost a few positions there after the pit stops. He was running in P5, I believe, but he's now down into P6 here, battling with Thomas.
But these drivers going toe to toe for like almost the whole race, I believe. But
yeah, looks like Pisano here on Leslie. Leslie has made a mistake somewhere previously, because he's now 4 seconds back to Whitehead, and Leslie losing that position to Pisano. Pisano, yeah, getting that move done very easily. So Leslie maybe losing some concentration towards the end of this race. It's very easy to do so. And is that damage on the front of the Honda? Can't quite tell.
And if there's any damage, I think it's only a bit of minor damage, but Leslie going very wide, and look at the time he's lost.
Yeah, no, I think Leslie has a bit more than minor damage there on the front of that Honda. That's cost him some way. He's either made a mistake or there's been contact between Whitehead and Leslie, but yeah, the gap between Boothby and Whitehead now, the top two, 22 seconds.
Well, I don't want to commentate to curse anyone, but if the gap of Boothby keeps on gaining, he will win this race, I believe.
Oh yeah, oh, big slide there from, that was Sidor, wow, I think that was Sidor.
I believe.
Was that Pizik? No, it's Pizik, I think. Either way, that was very well held. But yeah, De Campo now really putting on the pressure here to Thomas. He hasn't been able to get this move done yet, but Thomas very, very wide here. He has to be careful not to pick up a track limit warning. We've already seen a stop-go 30 for speeding the pits. We haven't seen any drive-throughs yet, I believe, for track limits.
And I think Thomas is about to overtake Leslie. Leslie's really struggling, so he has a lot of damage, I think. And yeah, that front end of the Honda is broken.
Yeah, what could have been a podium here for Leslie has turned out to be a disaster. He's dropping down place after place here, lap after lap. But I think it's just going to have to be a damage limitation for him. And now he's going to have to hold on to as many positions as he can. And with 9 minutes to go, I don't think it's worth pitting, to be honest. I think it's better if he tries to hold on and defend his position. But I mean, look how slow he's going compared to the rest of the field at the moment. It's a tough call to make.
Yeah, and of course the car behind him is only 5 seconds behind him. But if you see the time that he's losing every lap, it will be hard for him to even stay in his current position. But Pisano is catching Whitehead, the gap only being 1.7 seconds. And now it's only 1.2. So Whitehead is losing a lot of time to Pisano. And of course to Thomas, who is still fighting with De Campo.
Yeah, I mean, De Campo, I think he's been a bit too patient. Either that or he's just not able to find an opening here. Thomas has been defending extremely well. And now Pisano on the back of Whitehead. So you can see Whitehead with a bit more damage there on the front now. So there could have possibly been damage between Pisano and Leslie. Whitehead and Leslie. But now Pisano looking to gain P2 here. This is going to be an interesting fight. Pisano with pretty much no damage on his car.
He kept his Honda clean for 50 minutes. And look at the damage on the Porsche. The rear looks a bit broken. And Pisano going for the inside.
And they're still side by side. This is where Whitehead lost the position previously, and he's going to lose it again here. A great place for an overtake, and Pisano moves up into P2. There we go, Whitehead down into P3, but I think for Whitehead, as long as he can hold on. And oh, what's happened to Bendetti? He's lost the car there out of the bus stop chicane, and he's picked up some more damage on the front of that Audi. But for these drivers who are picking up damage towards the end of the race, the best option is to just drive through the damage and make it towards the end, because pitting at this stage is going to lose you too much time. But Vining in P10 currently looking for a way past the 898 Mercedes. He's been struggling to do so far. Van den Hoover on Cosford, P17 and P18, still battling it out here. Cosford hasn't been able to find a way past just yet. That Lamborghini on the straights, I know from last season, has been extremely fast. Bendetti there, not sure what's happened. He stopped the car, but he's got going once again.
But that's some heavy damage on the front of the Audi.
Yeah, and Watkins Glen is absolutely ruthless here, especially through that bust up chicane. That's where most of the drivers are going to be picking up damage. But De Campo now looking to go for a move, though it just doesn't seem to be close enough. Maybe he doesn't want to get this move done on Thomas. Maybe he's just thinking, okay, P5 is a good position, I don't want to ruin my race, I'll sit here until the checkered flag is waved.
Maybe he's just going for the long ride.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 5 minutes left though, but as a racing driver, would you really be happy with P5 if you've got another car straight in front? Yeah, no, you wouldn't. You can see they're looking to the inside, so he's definitely eyeing up a move, but just hasn't been able to get past. Hasn't had that opportunity arise, so he's going to have to try and create it. Maybe throwing a few dummies down the inside. And it's all about mind games, I think, personally, once it gets to this stage.
And we'll see if they can... Oh, and Leslie lost another position to the Audi 45
It's
of
Melicon, yeah.
Melicon. But and going back to this fight for P4, but DeCampo still not getting past Thomas here.
No, it looks like Carl Van Hoorn and Matt Pryor, their P20 and P21, very, very close as well. And looks like Pryor has got the move done on Van Hoorn. So that's just updated for us as well. But we're still sticking to this battle between DeCampo and Melancon. And DeCampo looking towards the inside. A bit of a dummy. This is what I was talking about. This is what he needs to do more of to try and force Thomas into a mistake. But it hasn't phased Thomas one bit. He's still sticking to his line, staying exactly where he is, and they've actually caught up to Whitehead now. So this is a 3-car battle for the final podium position, and Whitehead is in some trouble here.
Struggling.
He's really struggling. Just 3 minutes left to go of this race. We've got yellow flags out somewhere into turn 1. Looks like there's been a bit of a collision there in turn 1 between the 14 car and the number 32 car. So that's Van den Hoover and Cosford who have come into contact possibly. But this is the battle we want to be watching.
With Thomas eyeing up a move on Whitehead, and I think he's gonna try it around the outside, but
Whitehead's he's gonna force him off track there. He's not gonna let that move happen, and Whitehead had the racing line, so he has every right to do that. But DeCampo now. Are we going to be 3 wide? Let's hope not. We've seen this happen before last season. Or was it last season or the season before? And it did not end well whatsoever. So let's hope someone backs out of this. There we go. DeCampo backing out of that. Whitehead losing the position to Thomas. And you could just see how slow Whitehead is on the straights, carrying that heavy damage. And it's put him in a really bad position.
But will DeCampo be also as patient as he was with Thomas, or will he try and send it a little bit up the inside of Whitehead somewhere and tries it around the outside, maybe going for a different line?
It's not going to work for him that time around. Now we've seen this next corner is where most of the overtakes have been happening. Whitehead defending the inside now, moving back over to the racing line. Once again, DeCampo trying the outside. It's not going to work for him though. He needs to try and find the inside line just because of the camber of the corners. The outside is a very difficult place to make an overtake.
With the straights coming up and Whitehead losing all the time in the straights, and look how defensive he goes into the last corner. With DeCampo trying to go on the inside, but Whitehead moving aggressively to the inside.
Yeah, he looks like he might be able to hold on to that position. He does, and DeCampo having to go wide here. Rejoining the track. Are they still side by side? They still are.
They are.
And I think DeCampo is possibly going to have this. He's going to have the better straight line speed. We've got 3 Porsches here. That's Traction Dave in the background. He's obviously picked up damage on lap 1, unfortunately. And there we go. DeCampo getting the move done.
Whitehead really struggling at this moment, losing a couple of positions, and DeCampo now 3.2 seconds behind, so the fighting was really good for Thomas, who is MP3 now, and going back for the fight for P9 with Vining trying to overtake the 898 Mercedes, but also having to try and survive some traffic. It's both Porsche and Whitfoot also trying to catch up to this little battle in the penultimate lap, with only 3 seconds left on the clock, and the clock is now on 0. So the leader is on the final lap.
Yeah, Boothby coming through the bus stop chicane now. He's still got another sector to go. He's only just entered sector 2, but this battle still going on. It's heating up now as we approach the final lap. Well, they're not on the final lap just yet, but yeah, this is all down to the wire for these 3. the 898 Mercedes, Vining in the 524 Honda, and the Sidor in the 199 Porsche, who's been looking for a top 10 finish here. He's obviously running... sorry, no, that's Witroot. Yeah, sorry, Sidor was 2 seconds behind. So yeah, Witroot looking for a top 10 finish as well, but Boothby in that amazing livery.
Glass on his own.
Yep, exactly. I mean, he held off Whitehead at the start. Didn't get phased one bit. And he's going to round off the final corner now to finish P1 in the opening round of the SimZone GT3 Championship, powered by Moza Racing. And there we go, that's going to be some great points there for Boothby.
Maybe Whitehead was a little bit confused about the livery of Boothby.
What, it distracted him probably, I don't know. But Pisano here, after such a great race, so many overtakes from Pisano. And he's going to round off the final corner here to finish P2 on the podium here. Once again, great points for Pisano, keeping his nose clean throughout the whole race. There we go, flash of lights there from him as well. One of the Porsches there stopped on track. That's not great at all. But there we go. Michael Thomas finishing in P3. What a race from him as well. And Matteo De Campo P4. Luke Whitehead P5. I don't think he's going to be happy with that at all. Yeah, what a race we had from the top drivers, and that was Vining very, very sideways, and he's not going to get that move done on the 898 Mercedes. But yeah, there we go. The top three then: Boothby, Pisano in P2, and Thomas in P3. What a race we had there, Cody. In terms of driver of the day, I know we don't have any voting sorted out yet for that for the viewers, but we'll be sure to do that for next time around. But who do you think your driver of the day would be?
I think my vote, even though he was lonely at the top, it's going to be Boothby, because he had incredible pace for the whole of the race, so my vote goes to him.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think my vote's going to go to Pisano there, just to be able to grab P3 at the end and finish on the podium. But we'll see if we can get an interview up for the top three. But yeah, going on to round two, we're going to be at Donington Park. So another tricky track for overtakes. Not the widest of tracks either. But we're just watching some race highlights as well. But yeah, it's been a tough race. I think the stewards are definitely going to be busy after this one as well. But yeah, I mean the start was a bit of a mess, Cody.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate, of course, for the cars in the back. Yeah, with the contact, but with so many cars, a mistake is easily made. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was quite a successful opening round to the season. Now, moving forward, I think there are going to be a few angry drivers, but of course that's racing. It happens in real life as well. And you know, you just have to deal with it. It's just part and parcel of racing. There's going to be contact. There's going to be incidents involved. Sometimes you can be unlucky. Sometimes you can be extremely lucky. You know, it just depends on what happens. There's a lot of circumstances involved, and unfortunate for the start, where we had the Mercedes and the Porsche come into contact with each other, and they couldn't get their cars stopped in time and took out a couple drivers in front of them. But apart from that, we had some great racing throughout.
Yeah, and of course some guys are as fast as aliens, but can still be sometimes a bit human with some mistakes. But it was very, very good, very clean racing at most of the time. So we'll see what the rest of the season brings to us.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to have any interviews. No one has joined just yet. So yeah, we'll just take a quick look at some of the highlights as well. Obviously, we've got the overtake of Van den Heuvel on Julius V's. Van den Heuvel was so quick throughout the race. And he's definitely a contender for a top 10 finish in this championship as well. But
and of course he wasn't in the Lamborghini last season. He knows it quite well, I think. And looking at his overtake from, I believe it's from Chris Bissek on Ryan Walker, or the other way around, with the Porsche with the blue, white and gold. It's an amazing livery color scheme.
Yeah, but that rounds us off for the opening round here of the SimZone's GT3 Championship, powered by Moza Racing. Be sure to tune in next round, which should be next week, which will be at Donington Park. But from me and Cody, thank you for watching, and it's been a great evening. Take care and good night.
The SimZone's Season 8 GT3 Championship, powered by Moza Racing. The championship consists of 8 weekly rounds, starting in Watkins Glen, New York, and ending in Brands Hatch, UK. At the end of the season, the winner of the championship will receive the Moza Racing R5 bundle. The R5 bundle includes the Moza Racing R5 direct drive wheelbase with 5.5 Newton meters of peak torque. The Moza ES steering wheel with 22 programmable buttons. And the SRP light racing pedals, made of high-strength steel. Founded by automotive engineers and sim racing drivers, Moza is a leading innovator in camera stabilization systems and vehicle stability technology. Moza Racing released their first sim racing products in 2021, and since then, there have been a variety of products for the pros and for home. Moza Racing is determined to create innovative and professional sim racing equipment that drivers can depend on for quality and endurance. Moza Racing has also received numerous positive reviews. Here are just some of them.